Hi, Sarah here with a mixed media canvas for you today. This kit I'm using here is my Thompson's Craft mixed media kit. It's a new kit that's available, and I do have a whole video showing what came in it. And I will mostly be using things from the kit. Where I'm not using the kit, I will let you know what those bits are. So to begin with, I am just trimming out some of the tissue paper it came in and one of those little images from the rice paper so that I can decoupage them onto my canvas. So I'm just trimming these down into little pieces, and then I will grab some gel medium so that I can get these stuck down. The canvas is already primed with gesso and it's 6 by 6 inches. It's a really cute little canvas, especially if you're like me, you're fairly new to the more 3D style of art like this. So this is quite a new venture for me. I really enjoyed making this. It was such good fun, and you just layer things up and keep going till you're happy. It's brilliant. So now that I've layered on those pieces of tissue and rice paper, I'm just sealing them on with more of the gel medium so that once this is dry I can then use other paints and different things, sprays, whatever, on top of it, and it won't affect the delicate tissue underneath. It'll seal it all in. And so I'm just making sure everything is nicely stuck down, and I'm using this little sponge brush. I got a big pack of lots of different brushes. They were from Hobbycraft in the UK, and so far I think I've used 5 of the different brushes and sponges, and 3 out of 5 have been alright, 2 have been awful, so I've not made a decision on whether I think it was good value or not just yet. So here I've moved on to do some stamping next. This looks very bold at the moment, but I will be adding some of that gesso that you can see to one side there after this is all dried. And I'm using 2 of the stamp sets which were add-ons with this kit, and I'm using my Versa fine ink, which means that when you add anything water based, watercolour type things, I don't know if it's water based or the opposite, it means that it won't smudge. And I did apply way too much ink on that first stamp. I should have stamped it off first, but live and learn. And once it's mellowed down with some gesso, you don't really notice it, so it's all good. So that is that layer done, and now I'm adding on some gesso to seal this in. Once it dries, it does dry a little lighter, and I also do take a little bit of the paint back off just to allow it to show through a bit better. That's one of the really bad brushes. You saw me trying to get the brush hairs off it. It really was shocking. So that was a bad one from that batch. These are from Hobbycraft, these ones, those brushes. Now this stencil came in the kit, as did the palette knife. So if you're new to mixed media, it came with the tool as well as the stencil, which was really great. And I'm just applying some texture paste all over this to add some interest when I apply the paint on top of it. And this stencil's made up of quite a few different shapes, so you wouldn't have to use the whole thing. You can use just a few sections of it. There's little scripty bits. I really like the diamond shapes, which works really well with the images that I choose later on. And I've left that to dry, and now that's completely dry. All these bits here are from the kit and add-ons, and I'm just grabbing what things I think might get used. And this box is full of my other Thompson's Craft kits. I do have whole videos for these as well. These are the other kits available. If you go on the shop, I'll leave links below. You'll be able to check them out in case you want to get hold of one of them. So these bits are not from Thompson's Crafts. These are by Fab Planner Print, and they are an ephemera pack. Fab Planner Print is more of a planner sticker kind of company, and the artwork is by Monique Digital Art. I will link them below so that they get full credit for that beautiful ephemera and artwork there. So next up, I've just gessoed to prep those pieces ready to go on to my canvas later, and I'm just letting them dry. I'm adding some water from a repurposed bottle there, and I'm just adding 2 of the paints that also came in the kit. and these are the ones that are made to create a patina effect, but on my background I'm just going for a bluey aqua kind of look to it. I'm not adding any of the brown because that's not what I'm going for on this part of it. So I'm just adding a load of that paper there and spritzing some water, blending it out. I've moved on to one of my own brushes here, and just dabbing it up because I don't want it to be too thick. I want lots of the detail to show through, especially on all that texture paste. So now I'm just coming back in, adding a little bit more, and I just keep doing this back and forth with the 2 different colour paints until I'm happy with the effect that I'm getting on the background there. So if you're interested, you could enter in a little competition I have over in my Facebook group. I'll leave a link below, and my prize is a voucher for Thompson's Crafts, which they have kindly donated. So if you'd like to enter that competition, it's just to create something, any crafty project. All the details are over on my Facebook group. Then please go over and add yourself on there, and I'll approve your request to join my little group. So here I am adding some gold to the texture paste, and just here and there everywhere, just trying to bring out some of that texture paste from the blue. And I also want to just add touches of gold around the edge of it to sort of frame it a little bit. So I'm just applying that with my finger because I found it worked a lot better than using a brush for that bit. And I'm just sort of working out where I think I'd like to place this piece of ephemera. And I'm again using, this time I think I'm going to use my Ranger. It's the same sort of thing, it's a multi matte medium, so it dries clear and not shiny, and I'm just gluing that down and then adding more on top. It did move the ink a little bit on the piece of ephemera. I'm new to this, so I don't know exactly when things are gonna stick without I think if it had a gloss finish it probably wouldn't have, the actual ephemera, but I kind of like the effect. It didn't ruin it, so I just carried on and sealed around all the edges, ready for my next layer of stuff. And I also add a layer of gesso to sort of push it back a little bit because I don't want that to be the main feature off the actual canvas. So here I'm just applying the brown paint also in the kit to a few more pieces of ephemera. These are the ones that, all the wooden pieces, the 3D elements that came in the kit that I'm just adding. Sorry, they didn't come in the kit. Some of them are in the kit, some of them are from the other kits, but all from Thompson's Crafts. And now I'm just adding some paint. I do move it up so you can see it in a second. These are mermaid markers. This is the darkest colour in the set. I think I have it here. What colour is it? Reef. That brown one is Reef. I also use one, I think it's called Byron Bay. And I'm just blending my piece of ephemera into the background. That's why I gessoed around and on top of it, just so I could use my mermaid markers on top of it and help it blend out, so that it's just going to hopefully just blend in with it, with the background, rather than there being that line. I could have fussy cut out the teacups, to be honest, but I'm not very good at that. I was more comfortable just painting out the lines and blending it into the background instead. And with these mermaid markers, I just lay on some of the colour and then just use a really small brush and some water, and they blend so well. You just put a little bit of water and it just blends itself out. It does all the work for you. They are brilliant. I highly recommend them, and they're by Jane Davenport, so if I can link them I will do. And so yeah, I'm just blending all this colour out. I've left the whole the whole painty bit in because I think it's nice to see a full process of how things are done. So as I'm going around this darker bit, I'm going to blend it in towards the cup, and then once I've gone all the way around the edge, I then come back in with a clean brush with water and blend the colour out from the edge into the background so that it just fades out. Excuse my head and very, very magnified glasses there. So here I'm coming back in now. I'm going to blend that colour, and look how easily it just washes right out around the edges, and I can just go around the whole thing like that, and then go back in to those edges until there's no edge left at all. And the colour worked really well with my paints in the kit, so I was really pleased how well that just blended in with the colours from the kit. I'm not happy with the line I've got there behind the book. It's not straight, so I grab a ruler and I grab a Prima watercolour pencil. I think it's a Naturals collection or something like that. And I just draw a line, and again, just blend it out, because the Prima pencils work brilliantly as well. They blend really nicely as well. So I do think sometimes it's worth paying that little bit extra for watercolour mediums that just, you know, work well for you, do the work for you. So I've got this brown frame. It's not going to stay brown, and I've got a few other little pieces. I'm just working out where I think I'd like them to go. I also want to sharpen up that line. I'm using a paint over pen by Jane Davenport there, just to make that edge a little bit neater. And now I'm just going to add a bit of a patina effect onto this frame. I'm afraid half of it is on this video and the other half is on the other, so do stay tuned for the second video. They will be going up together or within a few minutes of each other, as fast as I can upload them, so you won't have to wait for the second half. So I've just added my first layer of the light green to the background. I'm using this fan brush, also came in my brush kit that I got from Hobbycraft, and this one worked really well, and that's watered down acrylics, just to add a bit of more interest to my background. And then I add that around the edge as well, and that is me about done for this half. So please stay tuned for the second half. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Bye.